Hi and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Let's just take a moment's silence for all the haters. That's enough. Be sure to check out the blooper reel at the end of the video, which is then followed by the end screen where you will find more videos listed. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. A warning from a very petty girl. This awesome story is written by Reddit author Tazirai. Hello forum, my name is Abigail Mitchell. I lurk here from time to time, reading the creepypasta and horror stories in No Sleep and other sub-forums. They are fascinating sources for me. The reason I'm posting here today is as it says in the title. This story is a warning to those that read this sub-forum and find themselves in awkward situations. Everything I'm about to tell you is true, and you can take from it what you may. I'm just here to pass on the message. I've known the forums to be a place where people come to hang out, chat with each other, and sometimes be asses to other human beings. But the horror side of the forums is where I lay my head. Some of my favourite stories are those that offer things like ritual stories, monster encounters, and the true style of story. They may get my juices going, especially when well written. I love the ones that make you think, the ones that make you question reality, the ones where regular people encounter situations and beings beyond their control or comprehension. I really love it when I don't have time to visit the forums and I'm driving to a destination and I go to YouTube or Vimeo and listen to my favourite horror readers. It makes those trips worth it. It also gives me a chance to re-familiarise myself with the sense of those tales of terror. Well, a week ago, one of those tales of terror happened to me. One of my friends, Emily, and her boyfriend, Marvin, were found dead at her home. They weren't just dead, someone had slaughtered them. Whoever or whatever killed them had torn them to shreds. My devastation was real. Me and Emily went back a long time, and she did not deserve what happened to her. I needed to find out what happened and who did this to them. Something needed to be done. I went and spoke to my friend Dan with the Philly PD. He told me there were pieces of them all over the house and even in the backyard. They would not release the information yet because they thought the murders were some kind of occult ritual gone wrong. I asked him why would he think that. He told me that there was a pentagram in the basement with all the tooling of a cult. Atames, incense, a scroll with a ritual passage written upon it, and weirdness all around, he told me. The following night, after the investigators left the house, my friend gave me permission to enter. When I entered the house, the chill that touched my neck made me tear up. My amber eyes clouded with wetness. In my mind's eye, I could only imagine the horror and the pain of their last moments. As I walked through the house, I made note of the bloodstains on the walls and carpets. The last little bits of flesh and gore that the police left for the cleaning crew after the investigation was done. There was an undercover car outside, but my friend told them to let me enter unmolested. The house was dark and eerie, like a silent wind moving about slowly. A wind that touched me on the neck and the arms, almost as if there was intelligence to it. I made my way through the darkened home looking for clues that the police would likely miss. They aren't used to the occult. They aren't used to looking for arcane symbology until they get time to call in an expert in the field. That would take too long for what I had planned. I needed to visit this place within a few days of the murder to learn what I would need. My eyes adjusted easily to the darkness of the basement. A light would hide what I was looking for. I needed the ink in the windowless basement. As a native Philadelphian, I loved the smell of basements, but the musky smell of gore and coppery blood mixed with a leftover sense of the incense and candles clouded that small yet important recognition. I studied the pentagram on the floor closely. I noticed Emily's mistake immediately. One of them had broken the seal of the thing. They probably didn't take this ritual seriously and thought it was just another thing to do while bored, or some random ritual pasta. It cost them their lives, and me, my friend. "Hello, Abby," came a voice from behind me. I stood and turned to look at the echo of Emily, a former friend, now a waning echo of the real Emily. "What did you do, Emily?" I asked her with sorrow in my voice. I walked over to her, my hand's energy now surging forth, allowing me to touch her. "We fucked up, Abby. I'm so sorry to do this to you." "You were the one that died, silly, not me. Now tell me who did this to you. We haven't much time." "A few days ago, Marvin and I were poking around on the forum, just reading some horror stories and messing around," the echo started. "When he got up to grab a drink, I got a notification in my inbox, so I checked it. It was a message from some person called Ziggy. They said they noticed my likes on No Sleep and had noticed they were mainly ritual-style stories." "Continue, Em," I prodded it. "Well, Ziggy had written that he and some friends had done a ritual called the Twilight Summons," Emily's echo continued. "No details, Em. I can find that out on the forum. Tell me your password so I can get access to your account." She told me and then immediately grew concerned. "Abby, where's Marvin? Why isn't he here? Where is he?" she cried out frantically. If a normal human would have entered the basement by now, they would notice me, glowing hands holding a transparent blue ghost to them. I tried to console her, but realized that it was time she had given me what I needed. "Em!" I said loudly enough to get her attention. The echo of Emily turned and looked into my amber eyes. "He's gone, dead, just like you are, Em. You were not really here either. You're an echo of Emily, not the real thing. The real Emily is gone." I felt as though I had destroyed her world all over again. "An echo?" she quizzed softly. "I really am dead, aren't I?" I didn't respond. I just held on to her and looked at the confusion and realization on her face. She lowered her gaze and asked, "What now?" "I free you from this forever. Then I avenge you and Marvin's deaths," I told her, tearing up. Dissipating an echo never felt good, but when it's a friend, it's the worst feeling in the universe. "I'm sorry, Abby. I wish this had never happened. I'll miss you," she stated as I pulled her close and held her. "No, you won't," I stated softly, disrupting the echo. I stood alone in the basement for a while. When I got home, I logged on to the account. I checked Emily's account and saw the note from Ziggy. He didn't even have a forum account. Ziggy got Emily and Marvin to get themselves killed, and they never noticed he had no account. Were people really that bored to never check where their notifications came from? I followed the link Ziggy provided them. The Twilight Ritual. A ritual designed to summon forth a being that has to serve you physically, but only during the twilight hours of the day, when the link between its world and ours is at its closest connection. According to the ritual, there are two phases that both had to be performed. The sunset-dusk phase and the sunrise-dawn phase. When you summon the being, it is in balanced phase, or neutral. It will perform actions that benefit you and harm the thing you wish as a sacrifice to itself. If you perform only the sunrise to dawn phase, it will only perform beneficial actions for others you name. If you perform only the sunset dusk phase, it will only harm others. But as its summoner, it will not harm you personally. Who the hell makes these damn things up? I had said to no one. I continued on. It looked as though they had performed one ritual phase correctly, the sunrise dawn phase. Throughout the home there were invisible sigils on the walls opposite every window facing outward. It was the sunset dusk phase they failed to perform properly and got killed for the effort. The next day I went and purchased the things I would need to perform the ritual. We needed to speak, this being and I. I know many of you reading this so far may think I'm some kind of monster or ghost hunter. I assure you, I'm not. I just hate bullies. You are a human bully. I hate you. A monster bully? The same. If you go about your business without torturing others or playing with your food, I have no issues with you. But what happened to Emily wasn't a normal thing. I've seen people break summoning circles before and are never harmed. I've seen them break circles and lose something due to them failing to summon the being properly. But it's almost never this messy. This thing had a personal issue with Emily and Marvin. I needed to know what that was. After procuring what I needed, I went home and began the process of the ritual. First, I showered and cleansed myself with oils and incense to provide a sense of clarity. Then I slept until 4 AM. Next, I had to find a place large enough for the summoning ritual. A place that I would not be disturbed for the duration of each phase. I went and broke into Em's house. Her basement would do just fine. The next part of the ritual called for me to create the circle up to 1 hour before civil twilight, or the morning dawn. I created a circle of protection as required by the ritual using the salt I got from the supermarket. I added a bit of talcum powder. You'll understand why later. Next, I created the circle of summoning, where the being would appear. I added a bit of talcum to that one also. Also a few drops of my blood and the scraping of Emily and Marvin's on top of that. Again, you'll understand why later. Then I sat quietly and waited. According to my phone's app, dawn was in 3 minutes. When the time came, I performed the rites and waited until sunrise. I won't tell you the rites because some of you idiots might try to perform it. If you only wish for the sunrise dawn benefits, then you would end the rites with the phrase Dusk Gaval. If you wish to continue, you would end with the phrase Dusk Caval. The being would appear or wait until I performed the second phase. If you continued, which I do not recommend, then you must light 7 candles and burn 3 incense. Those items will burn and last until dusk. You must not leave the circle all day. Then you will fast until dusk. When dusk comes, you may perform the second phase. During the second phase, you will begin the actual summoning rites. If you stay in the circle and do not break it, the creature will appear at the very moment dusk ends and night begins. Then you may bind the being for 7 days and 3 nights, non-consecutively. According to the ritual's rules, it cannot lie to you nor harm you once the summoning is complete, since you have provided it with the energy needed to fulfill the boons you ask of it. However, if you break the circle before asking the boon, then the ritual fails and the being goes home if its circle is closed and yours broken. If both circles are broken, it does not have to obey you at all. But here's the thing. Those circles are bullshit. They give you a false sense of security. All the circles do is help empower your will against the thing you summoned, so it can't mess with your mind and psych you out. 2 circles strengthen your will against it. A broken circle on either side leaves you on a lesser footing, and if you don't have your shit together, those things can get you. Some assholes a long time ago made up these arbitrary rules for magic and summoning, but there's a way around everything. When nighttime fell, finally, the thing that had killed Emily and Marvin appeared. It was laughably grotesque. It had mottled pink and purple skin, a head that was pure mouth filled with sharp and blunt teeth of equal measure. Its skin was like translucent jello. You can see the organs beneath it beating and moving about impossibly, never staying in one place. Its long, lanky arms ended in putty-like hands that continually morphed from blunt to sharp, like its teeth. It stood easily towering over me by a good 4 feet, but impossibly it fit in the basement with no problems. It yawned as though I had disturbed it from doing whatever otherworldly beings do when they aren't being summoned by nitwits and wizards.
Congratulations on performing the ritual, my summoner. What boons do you seek?
It stated, turning its mouth head down to me. I stared into its inky maw, searching. Ah, there they are. Its eyes were on the back of its mouth. I stared directly at them and stood up. Hello, Ziggy, I said to it.
Oh, it knows my name.
Ziggy smiled, as if a mouth-head monster could do anything less.
I do not remember seeking you out on the forums, my summoner. Who might you be? Some troll posting nonsense? A bored girl with no friends? How about a wannabe vigilante or something?
I reached into my pocket, ignoring Ziggy's mocking tone. I pulled out a picture. It was of Emily and Marvin. I have a boon to ask. It should be a simple task for one of your talents, I stated, a mix of displeasure and annoyance in my voice.
Then ask, my summoner, and you shall have 2 more nights and 7 more days of my services.
It stated eagerly. Why did you kill these 2 humans in the manner that you killed them? For only breaking the circle of protection instead of simply leaving? I asked it.
I cannot see them from here, my summoner, but I have a mouth for a head. Perhaps you would toss the picture to me that I may have a closer inspection,
he said, almost gleefully, thinking I would break my circle and bring it to him. The way these silly things worked, I couldn't simply toss it to him. You can see it from where you are, fiend, but as you wish. Then I broke my circle and walked over to him, rubbing my foot in the salt and talcum powder of my circle as I stepped out. It hissed in surprise, its mouth head widening, giving me a better look at its eyes. "Can you see it better now?" I asked, incredulously. It backed away a little and gritted its mouth head, then quickly reopened it.
What are you, girl?
It growled, raising its putty claw hands. "A petty bitch," I said, breaking his circle with my talcum salt-covered foot to his jello chest. Kicking it out of the circle, the 8-inch footprint on its chest where the salt and powder connected caused immense pain. It tried to rub it off, only winding up, burning its putty fingers. I shoved the picture in its mouth-head face. "Answer my boon," I growled at it.
They took too long. The circle was broken,
It said, opening and closing its mouth head in pain. "It took too long," I said, genuinely surprised, and then angered. "It took too long for what? Did they not perform the ritual correctly?"
Yes, they did it correctly. But there was a slight smudge in their salt circle, nearly broken.
It hissed out, its jello chest heaving as it tried to get me off it. "Nearly broken," I said again. "You killed them for a nearly broken circle, not an actual broken circle, and because they took too long to
ask their boon. They argued and bickered over who and when. They had not planned it out. Boredom was why they did it. Bored.
It said.
Bored when they summoned me as a prank.
Bored. Took too long. Nearly broken circle. I giggled as I realised what it was saying. They had done nothing wrong and died for it anyway. I backed off it, looking at the picture of my lost friend. "What exactly did you have to do that was so important?" I asked, malice in my voice.
Time on my world works slower than here. Here I age rapidly. I am immortal in my world. I had no wish to grow older while they bickered.
My friend died because of a vain, immortal, otherworldly demon who couldn't be bothered to wait. I raced over to Ziggy, grabbing a handful of its circle, my fiery amber eyes glowing with rage. I grabbed its mouth head and shoved my fist right into it. I planted the salt, talcum and blood mixture right into its eyes. They sizzled and burned as he tossed me away with a sudden strength. My hand glowed hot. I grabbed some more powder and sizzled off its right yellow arm. The blinded monstrosity howled in pain.
Stop!
It cried out.
The pain! I am blind! Stop!
In my head, all I could picture was this idiot in its home, looking at itself in whatever passed for a mirror. My friends died because of this idiot. My rage tempered somewhat as I realised I was in control. I would determine its fate. "Go home, Ziggy," I whispered, turning away from the thing. "I'll see you in the morning."
What?
It stated in unimaginable pain. Not understanding for a moment, then it all clicked for it. It had to return for the next 7 days and 2 nights. I could sense the fear in it as it looked at the arm it once owned lying on the floor. For the next 7 days, Ziggy returned, and each day Ziggy lost another part of Ziggy. I am normally not this cruel, not normally, but Ziggy and people like you need to see what happens when you do shit like this. Most of the reason I use the forum's no sleep section is that assholes like Ziggy do too. And this warning is as much for them as it is for you, the reader, human or not. For you humans, or whatever, curiosity is okay, but placing your life in danger and that of your friends trying to summon Cthulhu or whatever dumbness you think is cool because you are bored leads to a lot of Emilys. For you things out there using the forum as a hunting ground, trying to get your next Emily, just know I read no sleep, and I can be a really petty bitch. And I hope you all enjoy the following blooper reel. I've known the forums to be a place where people come to hang out, chat with each other, and sometimes be asses to other human beings. They would not release the information yet. Because they thought the murders were some kind of occult ritual gone wrong. Atames, incense. Abby, where's Marvin? Why isn't he here? Abby, where's Marvin? Why isn't he here? Where is he? A ritual designed to summon forth a being that has to serve you physically, but only during the twilight hours of the day. When you summon the being, it is in balanced phase or neutral. A head that was pure mouth, filled with sharp and blunt teeth of equal measure. You can see it from where you are, friend. You can see it from where you are, fiend. But as you wish, it hissed out, its jello chest heaving as it tried not. It hissed out, its jello chest heaving as it tried to get me off it. Hey family, please be so kind as to throw punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing, you'll be the first to see all our new spooky creepypasta stories. A very big thank you to Tazirai for allowing me to narrate this awesome story. Make sure to check out Tazirai's Reddit for more brilliant stories. Also be sure to check out the Tazirai playlist here for more of their stories that I have already narrated. I would just like to say a very big thank you to all of the authors that I've worked with and all the ones that I will work with in the future. So thank you all, my brothers and sisters. And why not hashtag cryptidsroost in your comments. If you would like to support the channel, I have an account at buymeacoffee.com. You can send your coffee donations, big or small, to that site, link is below, or via paypal.me/cryptidsroost. You can also support us on Ko-Fi, and the link is ko-fi.com/cryptidsroost. The link for that will also be below. Hashtag creators for peace. More information to follow. And don't forget to check out the end screen, see above. That will also list some more videos in my back catalogue. Take care everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.